This episode of the WYcast is sponsored by Buy My F***ing Album. So, buy my f***ing album. www.exp.uk. Nice one. Hello, my name's ExP. I'm a hip-hop MC, producer, engineer and general musician based in Leeds, West Yorkshire. Those that know me know I have a lot of time for West Yorkshire-based musicians, and since my days running and hosting the WY Cypher, I've tried to always champion the local community while also maintaining my rapper arrogance that everyone but me is whack and they should all quit. But also maintaining my non-existent self-esteem that I'm actually the wackest around and I should quit. One thing that always reminds me that it's just sick to make music and be a part of WY is talking to other musicians, but in person and not on social media. After convincing myself podcasts are a waste of valuable music listening time, I decided to do one anyway, as at least this way you're listening to good musicians based in or affiliated with the West Yorkshire hip-hop scene, and I'll be expanding that out to soul and jazz musicians as well over time. I'll be talking to people I know, and hopefully those I don't as well, to speak to them about their music and their association with WY West Yorkshire. And just a side thing, I'm going to be constantly saying WY, WY, West Yorkshire, and interchanging them. So just get over it. This episode, I'm joined by King Monk, aka Monk, aka back in the day, Monkey. The guy is royalty of a hip-hop UK-wide persuasion. He is responsible for putting on the hip-hop 50-year anniversary exhibition at Leeds Museum for starters. Also did the artwork for Nightmares on Wax, Car Boot Soul, as well as a zillion other things, and we're going to talk to him about them. I was very excited and slightly nervous to do this one because the guy is big in the game. It's actually your... The reason I'm here is kind of because we were put together on a WhatsApp group by, Tony. You'd already started the group, Green, I think, but Tony Green released. Yeah. And you were a bit inspiring, man, to be honest, because I'd already done some stuff in the West Yorkshire scene, but years ago, and I kind of wanted to be like, help the community, let other rappers and producers kind of bring each other up and stuff. And you kind of went off on one on WhatsApp at one point, just going, we could do this if we all work together more. And honestly, it was kind of a call to arms for me. Because I was like, it is possible. And we did used to have a bit of a scene going even like 10 years ago. And certainly when you started and stuff, man. So I appreciate the call to arms more than anything, man. Like, because it's funny, we're sitting in the museum now that you've like put this 9-month exhibition of hip hop in Leeds together, man. And like, you're obviously... How did it come about that you were the guy? Because someone made the decision and went, you know what, Monk is the guy to go to like put this together. And sure enough, like...
Actually, what it was me taking it to them.
So this was your idea and you went, let's exhibit this, yeah.
Yeah, it's not... this has been a lifelong passion for me to kind of celebrate Leeds culture. And... I've been working in the museum, so I set up in 2014, started doing, celebrating Hip Hop History Month, the month of November.
Yeah.
And I believe it was the 40th anniversary of Kool Herc and the Universal Zulu Nation, and it was the 39th anniversary of hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really confusing, and a lot of people don't get it. And there's a lot of people will argue that this didn't happen then and that didn't. There's a lot going on online, as you probably have seen.
Sure, yeah.
Most of your viewers have probably seen online. It's really, and that's the sad thing with hip hop is the fact that
there's dispute over it.
There's a lot of dispute. But nevertheless, we've got our official story of Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash and Africa Bambaataa and Zulu Nation and all this kind of thing of how it came around.
Yeah.
The culture in the first place. We started in 2014. We brought Africa Bambaataa here. The following year we had Talib Kweli, Akala.
Performing?
No, he came. They came and sat on a panel. So the same with Bambaataa. It was like, we had a panel. We had Abstract Orchestra came and played both years.
Oh, nice.
And they completely rewrote the score to, or converted it into the score, I guess you'd say, of Planet Rock. And that made Bam get up and just like start calling them all out. And obviously they're like, amazing musicians. They were on point.
Yeah, of course.
And he got up and started singing with them type thing. The following year, it was Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli came and sat on the panel as well. So it's more having a discussion in front of all the public for free, you know, like it was, you know, it's always free events. So yeah, we put that on, and we had a Carla, we had Ice-T's Rhyme Syndicate, Donald D.
Nice.
Donald D, the Rhyme Syndicate.
Where was that? What venue was this at?
This was here.
So you did it actually in the museum? Nice.
So this is where it all starts with the museum. I mean, initially, I can go back that I did I've done 2 other exhibitions in here. One was through Marvina, who was running Angels of Youth, yeah, and Angel of Youth was like a charity-based organisation that was running in Leeds, and she did something about Leeds, you know, the city of Leeds in here,
yeah.
And we had some music cabinets. So she brought me in initially to do the exhibition on hip hop and how it kind of came out of African music, and you know, so we had African instruments in there, nice. Up to modern day, whatever, you know, from, you know, hip hop culture in Leeds. Yeah. So I did that, and it was in the display cabinet in the Leeds area downstairs.
Yeah.
That I think might have been 2013. So it was the year before I actually did the celebrated.
Yeah, the 40 years.
So yeah, and then the one, I think 2017, we did another one, and there was a reggae. It was with Marek, who actually I've got a credit for letting us into this space in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy to get into spaces like this, you know, and
of course, yeah.
And I felt that it was very important that we got into spaces like this, because I could have done this in the West Indian Centre. That was my first choice. I could have done this anywhere else in a community centre or community setting, wherever. But I felt like, no, we need to go in a building that they don't want us in.
I love that. Yeah.
Hip-hop.
Stamp your mark on it, mate. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how that's why I came to this, and like I say, then 2017 we did this music thing with Marek. So Marek let us in the door. I spoke to Marek and kept on asking him, you know, what would it be? Could we do this? I knew Marek from Marcia Brown. Marcia Brown's one of the curators that's put some, and artists that's put things into this exhibition.
Yeah.
She's reggae based.
Yeah.
She's more roots reggae based.
She's got some work in right now in this.
She has, yeah. She's got some paintings in here, and she's also curated the reggae cabinet at the very beginning of the exhibition, the introduction to the exhibition, and showing the roots of where, you know, for us especially, it came out of the sound system for Leeds.
Yeah.
I know that reggae and Jamaica has had a massive influence within the culture anyway. Of
course.
Especially with regards to Kool Herc being from
Jamaica. It wouldn't really have existed without it.
So Marcia. So me and Marcia both. She did the reggae side to it. I did a hip hop cabinet downstairs. So this is the second time I've done an exhibition. I think that was around 2017 as Hip Hop Historian Society. So that's when we started the Hip Hop Historian Society around 2017. Yeah. Because before that, we were operating as the Universal Zulu Nation, but because of all the things that went off with Africa Bambaataa, the accusations and stuff, we couldn't do that anymore. So we kind of pulled back and stepped away from that and continued as the Hip Hop Historian Society.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of like the journey to getting here. And I kept on begging Marek, saying, look, can we get an exhibition? We need an exhibition. And he was like, I'll work on it. And they never really took to it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, after COVID, before COVID times, we'd signed a contract with them for them to store. So we'd be the first local community organisation to be actually in partnership with the museum, where they're going to archive our archives, basically, and look after them.
As part of the historians.
Work,
right.
So anything that we get in, and it's not so much just anything, we have so many submissions a year that we can put into that, and it will be stored in their facilities, the Discovery Centre.
And what does that count as then? Is that like the kind of stuff that's in here, that the kind of records that people might have put out over the years? Is that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So things that have been donated so far, it's only me that's donated.
Almost like a Hall of Fame of Leeds hip hop.
Indeed.
Like,
but it's going to live longer than we are.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man.
So it's good to get it into the museum. I felt that it was about time that we did get that in there. And so we set that up with them just before that time there. I think it would have been around 2019 we probably signed that contract with the museum.
Nice.
So it was amazing that we managed to do that. We did all this with Marek, and Marek sadly is not here anymore. He's moved on to the Football Museum over in Manchester now.
Oh, okay.
But he's from Manchester. He was commuting here all the time while I was working here, so it works out for him. But yeah, so I'm really thankful for Marek letting me through the door, and the Leeds City Museum, all the staff letting us through this door and being open to us. And really, I mean, they've been absolutely fabulous for this. This exhibition must be very challenging for them, because obviously we've got this, what we're sat in here.
Graffiti on the train walls.
Graffiti on the train. Graffiti doesn't get accepted anyway, does it? But they've actually been very open to letting people tag inside the train and stuff like that. So it has, and people have been quite respectful. There hasn't, I mean, we've got 1 or 2 drips on the floor over there, but it's, you know, they've actually done really well, and everybody's been in here.
Yeah. At some point or another, everyone's put a tag up in there. There's loads I recognise. It's cool.
And I love that, because I know personally in putting this together, so I didn't really quite finish, but, you know, in putting this together, I'll just say that I'm one person. I have relied upon other people's knowledge to tell me of people, because I don't know all the latest MCs. I don't know all the latest writers, you know, because I'm old school, if anything. And people are going to look at me, they're going to be saying, yo, this is an old man. He's from, you know, back when, you know, I'm not the oldest generation in hip-hop here, but, you know, I've been there throughout. I know about some of the stuff that came before me, and obviously some of the stuff that came after, but it was a long period of time I've spent within the scene in Leeds.
Absolutely.
So I had a lot of knowledge.
You were the guy for the job, to be honest. I don't know many people in the scene who could have done what you've pulled off here. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, that's really come from the fact that we did the Invisible Circle, and that was a network right across the city.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So when I was coming up, like 2003, 2004, jumping on my first open mics over in Bradford, like, you heard what was going on in Leeds, and it was Invisible Circle. It was this crew that you guys were in. So when did that start out? Was that you initially and some other dudes brought that about?
So basically, I just decided that we needed to pull the community together, make it bigger. Looking at the way that Wu-Tang had kind of operated,
formed together.
Yeah, that on their own they didn't get that. What they needed, really, but together they blew up, and I just felt that, you know, there's lots of different groups, lots of people that don't really know each other in Leeds, and we need to all pull together and be working together. People are doing this in their bedrooms, people are doing it in local clubs, and blah blah. Let's support each other. Let's do what everybody wants to do. They want to release a record. We want to, you know, so we set up a recording studio. We also started putting recordings out. It did fizzle. It took a while for it to fizzle. We set up an education platform to it afterwards.
Nah, really?
So that still exists today.
Does it? Yeah. What's that one called? What's that?
It's Invisible Circle Education. So that's what we initially set up. I don't have anything to do with that anymore, but it's there.
Still going.
That, to me, that's what I'm happy about, that things are still...
Yeah, especially when you've left such a positive mark, that's still going, the education side of it's still going.
Yeah.
So with Invisible Circle, then, how many of you was it when you that got together and started working? Because I know you were in a crew called Junkyard Tactics.
I was in the crew.
Yeah, because there's a record from 2005. I saw on Discogs. I'm gonna grab a copy of a Very Good Plus quality record that I saw, because I never copped that back in the day, but I remember seeing flyers with it and stuff.
A lot of people have kind of slept on that because they don't realise that there's Nightmares on Wax is on that. Tommy Evans is on that. You know, like Toz 180, may rest in peace. You know, is on there. You know, and LSK. You know, there's so many people, and within the Invisible Circle we had Geno Fam. Which consisted of Chambers, Danger, D Busy,
of course, Double D Dagger, who did really well, signed to
There was Cordell, there was Adam, there was and P-Man the Dapper Dan. So there was, I hope I haven't missed any of them off. I think I said Chambers, but they were a big crew at the time. They were the youngest crew that was in there, other than like Jay Bravo. So there was a lot of us. The age range was next level. I think Chambers was the youngest, and I think he was either 14 or 15. He was still in school. His mum came to me actually and said, I don't know what this is that he's getting involved in, but all I'm asking is that he doesn't, he can go out on weekends with you, but he can't do things school nights, blah, blah, blah. that's
reasonable. Yeah, that's
okay.
cool though. Yeah.
So we discovered that he was that age, and then we had people that MC Daddy Speedo, who is the godfather of rap in Leeds, and he's inspired a lot of stuff down in London.
Talk to me about him, bro. The Godfather. That's a big statement, man.
It is.
He's the Godfather of hip hop in Leeds. Why is he?
So he's.
Remind me his name again.
That's MC Daddy Speedo.
MC Daddy Speedo.
And MC Daddy Speedo, like I say, he was a member. He was the eldest member in our crew, so he's one of our elders, and I think he's roughly about 10 years older than me.
Right.
And so he would have been at that time. He would have been in his 40s, early 40s.
Right.
So we had a 14, 15-year-old, and somebody was in their early 40s, and all in between.
Yeah.
And that was the beautiful thing about it. Now, MC Daddy Speedo started out with another guy called Junior Patterson. Junior Patterson wrote some lyrics. They both came out of the sound system era, and they were chatting and singing on reggae sound systems.
I'm trying to think of my dates here.
This now would be, I'm guessing they're coming out of the late 70s, early 80s.
Damn.
So early 80s now, 81 times, I think, 82. That's when he starts his journey with hip-hop and his relationship with hip-hop. In terms of being an MC.
Yeah.
It was Junior Patterson that wrote his first lyrics, and he MC'd them because he was already chatting on and singing on sound systems.
Yeah.
So it was like, Junior Patterson said, yo, you should try this. And obviously they started, it was an American thing then. And it was like, obviously, when we all started out, it's kind of like we were imitating what was going on.
Of course,
yeah.
Even in my generation, man, I consider myself like even a generation younger than where you guys were, considering I was starting rapping in 04, and I was still starting out with an American accent. So I think it's kind of like only that generation under me where they had crews like Low Life Records and stuff like that. Someone to look up to when you're like 13 that's like British accent and stuff. Otherwise, you are imitating it, and like So that's
where we all started.
It's fully. So, just going back to Invisible Circle then, were there already hip-hop nights going on in Leeds around that time, or were you having to put them on,
yes,
effectively?
there was Drum Major. I'm sure we've got some Drum Major flyers up in here, courtesy of Mike L, the DMC champion. He's he's been the regional champion, he's been the world champion, and he's been the national champion.
Nice.
And he lives here in Leeds.
He's a Leeds guy, nice.
And the little story I've got about him is the fact that it was really funny because me and Tommy Evans started off as Junkyard Tactics. It was named by LSK. LSK gave us that name, Junkyard Tactics. And it was basically me and Tommy Evans and a guy called DJ X, who was a massive mentor of mine. We used to go and MC down at the Royal Park pub.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this live band. So there's Kenny Higgins, who's on bass, absolutely incredible bass player, and a guy called Graham, can't remember his surname now, but he was on the keys. So they were down there and they were doing this,
just like improvising hip-hop jam.
Soul, jazzy, all that hip-hop funky, So we'd go down there playing live. And we'd get up on there and MC on the mics.
Spitting writtens, freestyling. What were you? What was it?
Just it would have been both.
Freestyles
and writtens, off the head and written, and basically, I remember this guy was sat there, just this guy just sitting there. He had a pint and he'd be drinking, and he'd always come and sit and be talking to us, and we'd sit. Never ever told me he was a DJ. So otherwise we would have said, "Yo, you need to bring a turntable down, while we're emceeing." But he, one day he calls me, so we'd see him down there regularly every week. He'd be there, and he just got in touch with me one time and asked me if I want to go to the DMCs because he's competing in the DMCs, and I was like, what? That was just like nuts. Like, this guy, we've been talking to him all the time, he's never told us what he does. He's a bit like Gold Frank. Do you know Gold Frank?
I remember he's a tattooist, isn't he?
Yes, amazing tattooist. And the thing is with Gold Frank used to run he used to work in a shop called Air. Then he bought Air and it ended up being a shop. It was in one of the arcades. I don't know if it's Thornton's arcade or is it Queen's arcade, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he had a shop and he turned it into Chimp, it was called Chimp, and it was a skate shop and fashion shop, and he ran that. So for years and years, known Richard his name's Richard Gold Frank, so I've known him for years, and chatting. And then all of a sudden we discover that he's this MC, and it was just like, wow, this guy MCs, and he was sick. He was doing his thing. It was really hype, and all the rest of it, and really lively, And then, but it was a shock because nobody knew he MC'd. And then all of a sudden, he becomes this incredible tattoo artist, and it's just like I didn't even know he was an artist. And obviously I'm an artist, so he knew I was an artist, but he never. It's really weird when people don't really.
It's a funny thing, and I wonder whether that's like a Britishism, because I feel in America you're like,
yeah,
I'm this, I'm that, and here I am. You know what I mean? Whereas in Britain,
We're
it's like,
kind of
oh, by the
reserved,
way,
aren't we?
I'm DMC champion, but don't tell anyone. Like, it's a funny. It's interesting you say about being an artist as well. I was trying to think the other day about the elements of hip hop. Obviously, there's the Declaration of Peace alludes to about 9 elements of peace. I always consider the 4, but then there are more. But did you do any breakdancing back in the day?
I started off. That's where I started off.
So you started breakdancing because just
as
quickly,
a kid, more robotics and a
produced.
bit of popping, and I wasn't really a breakdancer, but I gave it a try and stuff like that. But that's my first introduction to it.
Really?
And again, this is like probably 1984. Sick. I see the movie Breaking. Yep. Which most people will cringe because everybody's like, nah, it was all about Beat Street. And it's like, I never saw Beat Street. I saw Breaking.
That's what inspired you at the time,
that's what inspired
right?
me. Turbo and Ozone. I just thought that incredible. Loved that movie. And that's what got me going. I started popping and robotics and doing my bit, and absolutely loved it. And I didn't live in Leeds at that time, so you'll probably tell with my accent.
Where were you from originally?
All over the place.
All over the shop.
My stepdad was in the army, so I moved around. I was posted to like Germany and then down. Well, he was posted to Germany, so we were.
So where were you doing your robotics?
Brats.
Where was that?
That was down in a place called Tidworth.
Okay,
It was an army barracks
nice.
in Hampshire, I believe, and it's near like what do you call it now? What's that place? With the stones, Stonehenge.
Oh yeah.
Down that way.
Wiltshire, is it? Down
that
that way,
and Hampshire and all that, yeah. So we're down there. And then I came to Leeds in 1986.
Right.
So 1986 now, come to Leeds.
What age are we looking at here? You like
12.
Wow, damn. Okay, yeah.
12 years
12
old.
and 86.
And so and I'm like into hip hop. Still listening to things like Aha and that was one of my favourite things at the time. This Norwegian band that came over and all the struggles they went through, and I was just like really into that as a kid, and loved it. It was the Take on Me video because of the art, because I was an artist. So
beautiful, that video,
and the way that they mixed the film with the animation was just like, oh my gosh.
Still groundbreaking in 2024. That video, yeah.
Well, incredibly. This is really funny because when we did Taking Over video, never even thought about it, right? But if you notice what we've done there is it's like we're coming out of a comic book.
Ah, right.
This wasn't me that did this. This was some other guys that came and brought the concept to us.
You hadn't even suggested that. Why don't we use the Aha idea? Like,
really weird,
nice.
right? Listen, Take On Me.
Yeah.
What's the track called? Taking Over.
Yeah. Right?
No, and check this. We come out of a comic just like he comes out of a comic book. I've only just clicked.
Darren Brown.
I've only just clicked this like about within this last year. It's only just dawned on me.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding.
Even at the time, you're like,
no. It's only just now because I was showing the kids in my studio.
Yeah.
That I obviously have my studio teaching art, and I'm showing the kids this video, Take On Me. Just for the art of it and everything. And then I was just like, it just went click.
I did
click.
This.
And I was like, oh my gosh, how mad is that? But that was my favorite video, my favorite band at the time. And it was just like, and they went from, it was called Take On Me. We did Taking Over.
Yeah.
And we do the same thing. We come out of a comic book and we end up getting out of the comic book at the end. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
And I swear, I didn't write that.
Yeah.
They did it.
Give
These
them
guys,
the brief.
a guy called Will and Dave Lynch.
That an Invisible Circle?
Ashley Carell.
Track.
Yeah, that's an Invisible Circle. That's the Taking Over Junkyard Tactics.
I haven't actually seen the video, I don't think. That's still on YouTube.
That's the single that you're talking about buying. That's the video's on in the record shop. We'll have a look at it afterwards.
Yeah. I might put it on in between this. That's
weird.
cool as hell. That's
really
mad.
Weird. And the fact that I've only just discovered it in the last year, and I think it could be in the last 6 months that I've discovered it, and I've just thought, oh my gosh, that's a bit freaky.
Last time I came through and chatted to you, I realised, and I'm sorry that I hadn't earlier, that you did the artwork for Nightmares on Wax, Smoker's Delight, and Car Boot Soul.
Yes.
As well as other things you've done for them. And I said to you, I could have just done that with my life. and never done anything else, and it would have been incredible. So massive props to you for doing that, because like that is such an iconic bit of artwork that must sit in pretty much every record collector's house in the world, like with a good taste in music, which must like where did that sort of how did you get on board with doing the artwork for Nightmares?
So I'm like painting T-shirts and stuff for people, graffiti jeans, jackets and stuff like that. And this is just something I'm doing. This is my love, man. Because that was the next thing, was graffiti. It was just like, oh my gosh, I'm an artist. I love art.
Yeah.
And graffiti just took me. So away from the breakdance, the breaking and everything, took me away from that. It was that, and then the MCing. So when I got into this now, I moved to France in 1994 with my real father. So I move over there, and then I come back for a holiday here. My mum's got a pub. So I'm in this pub. She's got a big function room. I've got my turntable set up in there. We have some parties in there and stuff like that.
Whereabouts the pub? Sorry, interrupt.
The pub is in Armley.
Okay.
It's no longer a pub, but it was called the Albion Inn, and it was on Armley Road, opposite the prison.
Nice.
So I was living there for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I previously had met LSK, and we went to Dance Energy, which was on BBC Two. And it used to be on BBC Two. I don't know which evening it was, every Tuesday evening or something like that, after Fresh Prince, and you'd watch that. Then you watched F2, and it was Normski that used to present that.
Oh yeah,
it was a massive, like all hip hop bands and different bands were on that.
Nice.
And so we all went over to Manchester for that, and I meet this guy called Lee Kenny, LSK. Absolutely blown away by this guy. I'd met him previous to that, actually. I'm saying I met him there, I didn't. I met him previously to that because he saw me in Dortmund Square with my painted jeans on with Public Enemy on it and all.
Yeah, so he came over as like...
And he comes over and goes, oh, did them for you? Because he was painting jeans. He was the only one in Leeds that was painting jeans and jackets and all that. So he sees me. I'm a younger kid because 3 years was a lot between us back then, but we're 3 years difference. And this guy's like incredible MC, incredible artist, and he comes over and he bigs me up for my jeans and everything. And then I meet him again when Dream Warriors come to Leeds, and they go into Virgin Records, and we're all in there. Yeah. And we go. I think we come from Crash Records, where Oddball was working. Oddball was our dealer for records, yeah. So
nice. Everyone needed one back in the day, innit?
He used to sell us the records in Crash. And then we all went out of Crash and went to Virgin to meet Dream Warriors. They were a Canadian hip-hop group.
Right.
And they were just visiting, and they were doing a concert in Bradford, because all the hip-hop concerts were back in Bradford back in those days.
That's mental,
Not
man.
here, yeah.
I wonder why that was.
I think because the Queen's Hall had been knocked down near the train station, because we had a massive venue called the Queen's Hall.
Yeah.
Opposite the cockpit. It was under that...
under the train.
I saw Aha there actually when I first
No
came to
way,
Leeds.
no, mate.
So and then it got knocked down, that place. So we didn't have a venue like that. So the bigger venues were all in Bradford.
Yeah.
And so these guys, we got on the guest list. They signed my jeans because I had my painted jeans on.
Yeah.
They tagged all my jeans up. One of them was a graffiti artist, so he tagged all my jeans up, and I painted over it with some Dylon, the fabric paints that I was using, so it stayed on permanent.
Nice.
And but yeah, that day we all went to the Dream Warriors concert, and they put us on the guest list and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And then from there, I go to this. I'm supposed to meet a girlfriend, and these days there's no mobile telephones. It's this 1991 or something like that. And I'm supposed to meet her after work somewhere, outside her work. I'm walking through St. John's Shopping Centre, going up the escalator, and I see all the hip-hop heads upstairs. And it's like they're all at the top of the escalators. And I'm looking at them thinking, wow, like all the heads, they were older than me, but I knew some of them. And it was just like, I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why is everybody up here? And they're all dressed up, and they've all got like painted dungarees on. The LSK's gone and painted. There's a pair of them over there in one of the cabinets.
To the museum, yeah.
Yeah, and Mikey Joseph's there, Paul Edmead's there. They're all there. Everybody's there. Who's anybody in Leeds and hip hop at the time?
Sick.
And it's mainly the Chapeltown crew though, really. And so I get up to the top of the escalator, and there's a guy called Adam, ADM, and he's like. He goes, oh, mate, we're going to Dance Energy. Do you want to come? And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, and there's a piece of advice that he gave me that I've always kept till this day. Never turn down an opportunity, do you know, like never miss an opportunity. Because I used to always think, how comes this guy's always in the recording sessions of this or that, or, you know, anything. BTI were doing their thing, Breaking the Illusion. They did their thing. He's in the studio while they're recording. I'm like, wow, I'm this little kid. Like, I think I'm only a year younger than him. I always thought he was a lot older than me as well. Yeah. But I'm like, he said, yeah, you're coming. So I thought, you know what? And it just rang in my head what he told me before, don't miss opportunity. So I just got on that coach with them outside McDonald's. Yeah. And went over to Manchester to this film set, and they did 2 shows of 2 episodes of Dance Energy.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, it was that. So after that, me and Lee Kenny got chatting as well. We all shared a taxi home, I think, or walked home together. And then, we shared a taxi home. And so, got to know LSK a little bit more. Then I hadn't seen him for a few years. It's 1994, living in the pub, and he comes in with Adam. Adam brings him down to my mum's pub, and we get chatting. Yeah. And he starts looking at all my T-shirts, because I'm hand-painting T-shirts like crazy. I've just come back from France. I've been sat in France painting all these T-shirts, and I've got them all with me. Showed them to LSK. LSK's like, wow, these are really good, man. He says, look, I'm doing this project, and I'd really like you to come on it. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, it's Nightmares on Wax. And I'm like, what? He's going, I'm doing the album cover for Nightmares on Wax, Smoker's Delight. Yeah,
so it's that first.
1994. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I want you to do it with me.
Sick. So that was a joint effort with you and LSK?
Yes. Well, he'd already done the front cover. So the front cover is just LSK's done that. Yeah. Now, Ease, at the time, wanted it so that turn it any which way and you'll see things going on in there. Whereas LSK had done it all up one way, you know, like it was just you look at it and you see lots of things, but it's just one way. Yeah. So he wants more artwork. So LSK said, look, do you want to come on board? Put me on board. And we did what's the center piece where you open up the gatefold. Yeah. It's that. But we both sat there doing that together. Yeah. And then that was supposed to be the front cover then. But then later on, George said, you know what, he got Kenny to redo the lettering at the top. So the letters at the top they're not the original letters that was written on there. Personally, I prefer the original letters that was on there. But these were different. So the letters that are on that cover now are not the originals. Oh, okay. And so he chose to use the original cover for the front, then do the gatefold, and we did loads of other artwork for it, T-shirts and all other kinds, Rizzler packet, all that stuff. Nice. So did all that, and so that was my first brought into a big thing. Like, wow, it's like huge for me. LSK really opened up a lot for me, because what happened then was by 1996 he gets signed to Sony. Of course. With Bedlam the Go-Go. Later on he ends up being solo as LSK. Yeah. And Bedlam the Go-Go is kind of like a couple of his friends that he knew, and I'd introduced him to this guy that I grew up with on my council estate that I grew up on. A guy called Hope, Phil Naylor, and he was a producer. So I took LSK around there, and we were all doing stuff together. I kind of came away from it. Then they get signed to Sony, which is amazing. Yeah, and
you weren't like, I should have been hanging around a bit more. I suppose what you're gonna.
I'm a really weird person like that. I don't worry about things like that, because I always think, and I was really happy for them. I just thought it was amazing. They took me on tour with them, going around places and all that kind of stuff, and they really included me a lot.
Were you helping them with merch and that?
No, not really. I did do some artwork bits for LSK over the years. Even though he's an incredible artist himself, he can do anything himself. He doesn't need anybody for anything. Yeah.
Was Car Boot Soul a collaboration with him as well, or was that just you?
So Car Boot Soul, that was just me, and the reason being. Right, so this is what I was getting onto, is the fact that LSK, what happens with LSK now is he gets signed. Yeah. So then he's doing Iration Steppers artwork, he's doing Nightmares on Wax artwork, he's doing the artwork for Funky Mule, he's doing everyone's artwork. Yeah. All of a sudden, he ain't got no time for that no more, because he's touring all around the world. Yeah, and he's writing albums, and so he hands me all of that. I pretty much get all of that, So I start doing the Funky Mule flyers, which was previously him doing the Funky Mule flyers. I did Iration Steppers logo the one that they use today still. I don't know if you know Iration Steppers, but
brother, I know Iration Steppers.
Okay.
I've been going to their gigs since I was a child, mate.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I love Iration Steppers.
So yeah, Mark got me to do that that logo for them. That was 1998. I did that logo for them.
Amazing. You still use that now. That's so
yeah,
sick.
and it's still there now.
Quality,
they
man.
had a different logo before that actually, but yeah. So he got me to do that, and he asked me to use the green sleeves as an inspiration for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Car Boot Soul. Then obviously I did Car Boot Soul. LSK wasn't available,
Yeah.
And the Funky Mule, and that was it. Funky Mule became my every month. I just loved it because I had the free will to do whatever I want for this flyer. Nobody's telling me what to do. They're just saying,
So you
do
can
what
make
you
it proper
do.
art. You can just go with it
Yeah.
like every single time. So talk to me about Funky Mule. And that was a monthly night. Was it a monthly hip hop night that was put on?
Yeah, it was a monthly night. Turned into a bi-weekly night eventually, but it was a monthly night. It was the biggest like hip hop night that we'd ever had. So this is before Invisible Circle. So when you asked that question earlier, this kind of leads on to that as well. So they were doing their thing.
Were they bringing acts out of town though, or were they like
Yes,
mainly?
they were international acts. So
Right.
they brought Kool Herc. So,
Damn.
and I'll tell you the story about Kool Herc. So
Please.
with Kool Herc now, this is what made me. So when you said Nightmares on Wax, Smokes, like that would have made me, right? Okay. So yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there was nothing else made me more than in I guess it's different points in your life, isn't it? And I get a call from Richard Watson, the guy who was running with Ease from Nightmares on Wax. They ran that collectively in the cockpit with a guy called Colin. And that was, so the cockpit was under the train station. The club,
Yeah, of course.
and they were running Funky Mule in there. And they brought Kool Herc one night. So I'm getting a call from Richard Watson. He goes, here, Monk. He says, you need, well, I was Monkey, Monkee,
Yeah.
the type that swings in trees. So I was more like Monkey Magic, pull the hairs off my chest, get my cloud. But yeah, sorry, I went off on one.
No, I like it.
But yeah, so Kool Herc's there. He's saying, he said he's here. He loves your artwork because I'd done all the graffiti for the club.
Oh, man.
And so I'd done all these big graffiti backdrops in there for Funky Mule. And Kool Herc's come down. He's going, I love this, and he's talking to, Richard about it. And he's saying he'd love to meet me. So Richard says, look, Kool Herc really wants to meet you. He loves your artwork, blah, blah. He says, bring your music down. Because obviously I was an MC as well. So he says, he's just got signed to Def Jam. KRS-One's just signed him to Def Jam, by the way. He says, so he's just, because KRS-One became CEO or something, or the A&R of Def Jam for a really short period of time.
Oh, really?
Because I believe, I don't know this to be true, but I believe that he got fired because what he did was he went and employed all the original pioneers.
Yeah.
So he went and got
them on board.
He got Kool Herc on board. Kool Herc had never done an album, so Kool Herc's going to do an album. He's looking for people right across the world. He wants to get different MCs from across the
What
world.
an opportunity.
So next thing he's saying, bring that down. So I bring down a demo that I did with Tom from Breaking the Illusion.
Yeah.
So Tom produced it and everything and recorded me.
You spitting on it.
Absolutely awesome, yeah. Loved it. It was some lyrics that me and Tommy Evans had written together. And basically, I then give this CD to Kool Herc that night.
Yeah.
Next thing, I think about 6 months later, he comes back, Kool Herc. But before that, anyway, that night, just like, he gets up on, he's DJing, I'm filming, I've got this little mini DV camera, and I've got loads of footage that nobody's seen anything of yet.
Yeah.
And it's yet to be seen. It's still not in this
Still
exhibition.
no, you didn't get it in the museum, no?
Because it's converting it from mini DV and also editing it because of the cussing. Because there is a little bit, there's not very much cussing, but there's a little bit of cussing in. I've got like a 60-minute edit that I've already done.
Right.
Because I was doing video editing back then as well. I don't do it now. But,
Yeah.
So hand into everything.
Yeah, you really have.
But yeah, I filmed everything and edited this 60-minute thing of all the different artists in Invisible Circle. So it's all kind of been documented in a way.
Yeah.
There's loads more footage as well, but there's a 60-minute film.
The world needs to see this, man.
Yeah, I need to get that up on YouTube. But so basically, I'm just stood there. I've got this mini DV cam, and I'm filming Kool Herc on stage DJing. And he doesn't know that I'm there. So next thing, he gets up and he comes out from behind the turntables and he stands in front of, there's hundreds of people in there. It's like quite a big venue, and he's like, where's my boy Monkey? And I'm stood there thinking, what? And he goes, I like to big up my way. And I came over to him, so I'm stood at the side. He doesn't know that. He's not met me.
Right.
So he gets me up on stage and just stands there. I feel like a spare part. This dude's a big bear. Stood there. I'm this little kid. And there's a picture of me in the cabinet with him at the beginning when you come in here of that night. Because he asked me to have a photo taken with him with my artwork. So there was a big Funky Mule backdrop behind it. And I tried to get the Funky Mule backdrops in here for this exhibition. But it's been pretty impossible. They don't know where they are. They might be in this lockup. They might be. So it's like that. But I didn't get them. Anyway, so Kool Herc gets me up on stage and in front of everybody goes, yo, this is my boy Monkey. He did all the artwork around the club and da-da-da-da. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I understood there thinking, whoa. It's like
madness.
So anyway, after that, 6 months later goes by, Richard Watson brings him back again, but it's not the Funky Mule. I can't remember what it was, but he was doing it up at the university.
Okay, yeah.
So he calls me up again. He says, he said, Kool Herc's here with his brother, Kenny Wan. And he said he's his manager. He's come and they want to meet with you about your track. They want to do a track with you.
What?
And I was like, wow. So now I've got Kool Herc, the father of hip hop, that loves my artwork. And now music. He loves my MCing as well. And I'm just like, wow, there's nothing else could make me now.
Nah.
I'm happy. I'm content.
So what happened then? Because you didn't sign for Def Jam.
No. Right, okay. So
next?
What happened next was, from what I understand, is obviously KRS-One, Kool Herc, all that got dropped. So that never happened. He never brought an album out. So he was looking for people and scouting, and I was one of them that would have been selected for it. He loved that track. He wanted to do a remix of it. It took me about a year to get that remix from Tom from Breaking the Illusion because he couldn't find it. So when I'd got it, I had Kool Herc's. I've still got Kool Herc's business card now from back then, what he gave me. And I was supposed to put it in this exhibition, but I don't think I have.
No, it's got to stay in the safe, man.
I was supposed to put it in. But yeah, you just reminded me. So yeah, I'm all over the place.
To get it in, mate.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I never ended up getting in touch with him, sending him that a cappella so that he could do
something with it, yeah.
Because I felt like a year later, this guy's not going to care no more. It's too late. You want to get it in within weeks.
Of course, it
has
has to be at the moment, innit?
Probably would have been all right because it takes a long time to make things, but he never did an album anyway. So that was my little story of like. Wow.
I mean, to say that you've kind of been co-signed by the Godfather of hip hop, that's pretty amazing, really. You have like ticked a lot of crazy boxes, really, in your hip hop career.
But it gets further than that because it goes into getting to know KRS-One, getting involved with the Temple of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like me going hunting out for that. It came to me. Yeah. At the same time, the Universal Zulu Nation came to me roughly similar times.
Well, you put in years of work with those guys, didn't you? Like you were really holding it down for them, man. Like, around here.
Well, I got involved heavily with Universal Zulu Nation, and I really, especially within the UK and internationally, because I was on the World Council with the Zulu Nation when everything went to pot. Yeah. Really sad. And I mean, the incredible unity. This is why when we had that conversation in the WhatsApp group, is because I've seen
what the community can look like. Yes. Exactly, yeah. For all
I've
helping each other.
I've experienced doing what I did with Invisible Circle. There was 32 members initially. I'd say 24 active members. Yeah. You did ask that question earlier. I didn't get to answer that.
Yeah, good memory.
That's what it was. I'm sure I'm ADHD. I bounce all over the place, so that must be.
It's all good.
I'm not diagnosed, but I'm sure of it. Anyway, so yeah, that there was that many of Invisible Circle. Yeah. And where was I now? Sorry.
Seeing with the way the Zulu Nation works, seeing the way that community works.
So having the experience on the ground with that kind of amount of people, because it was me that was making the Invisible Circle happen, and you know, and foundation of it, and basically then I'm sat in this position in the Zulu Nation, and people are like coming to me from all over the world for whatever reasons, you know, like wanting to join. They've got problems in the Zulu Nation, this, that, and the other, and I'm having to take that back to the World Council so we can work out things and, you know, make all the decisions.
Hip Hop UN.
Yeah,
sort of thing, United
really
Nations
was.
almost. Like.
It was next level, and it was right across the world. It was worldwide, like everywhere, nearly every country.
Is there anything like that anymore? Is there something that still exists? I know there's I read that when I was over in your studio, you showed me the Declaration of Peace. And is that something that's still
over there? Actually,
yeah, I love that. I was looking at that only the other day. There's some really nice points in it that it makes. I was looking at number 15 in particular, talks about like a hip hopper's responsibility to nature and the planet, and making sure. And it's just such a nice thing to see written down. Yeah, and it's not all about like staying cool and making sure that you sell your records. It's like about your position in the world and like how you should come across. It's a lovely sort of set of things to live by, kind of thing. So.
And there's a day by day for every day of the year. There's something that you should be doing. Yeah. If you get the gospel of hip hop, there's something in there to kind of inspire people to be better people. You know,
of course,
like, you know, there's times where there's things in there like, you know, if you're in a queue of, you know, to shop, and your change, give it to the person behind you so that they have a little bit of, you know, whatever to knock off their bill. Do you know what I mean?
I see.
Just things like that.
Just breeding positivity kind of thing. Yeah.
And I think that for me, that's where, I mean, hip hop's many different things to many different people.
Of course.
But for me, that's hip hop for me. It resonates with me.
100%. And that's kind of how it begun. Like, I think a lot of people lose focus on the fact that hip hop did start as kind of a community-based thing, trying to like go of the negativity in their own lives and have this positive thing that everyone can come together and do, and kind of looping back to like the Leeds hip hop scene or even the West Yorkshire hip hop scene, because that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on with this podcast and stuff, and talk to people around West Yorkshire. Yeah, boy. What? Because you said yourself, Invisible Circle kind of fizzled out, and I've sort of seen. I've seen the scene kind of do this. Yeah. What's it lacking right now? What would you say would be the ideal way that Leeds could go forward or Yorkshire could go forward?
Just to deal with both of those questions as well, because what it's lacking is the unity and people's trust. It's the lack of trust and also the conditioning that we've got of being solo, being it's about me, get mine, do you know what I mean? And it's the ego that goes along with that as well. Yeah. Whereas if we drop the ego, and that's where I found these organizations like the Temple of Hip Hop, like the Universal Zulu Nation, most notably, because there are other organizations out there.
Of course.
But these two were worldwide. They were really extremely active and also pioneering, you know. And the thing is with that was that what you do is you went into that organization not as, it's me, I'm Monk, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm...
Do you know what I've done? Do you know what I've done artwork for?
I'm this, No. You went into there thinking, how can I add to this wheel that's been created already? Yeah. How can I add extra tread to this to make it even more, you know, palatable, more, you know, take over across any kind of, you know, terrain? Do you get what I'm saying? Let's take this even further. How can I enhance this? How can I help this?
Yeah.
And therefore you go in that way, and therefore Monks is just in that. But that ego, you drop that ego, and you're all about this family now.
Of course.
And it's the family that matters, the family that counts, and that's what we're lacking here in the UK is the unity, the trust, you know.
Whenever I've seen groups of people or like almost like sometimes they're record labels, sometimes they're like crews, but you can see they've all got each other's back and they're all bigging each other up. And it only ever results in like elevation for the group as a whole. But hip hop does seem to come with this. A lot of rappers in particular. I don't think it happens with DJs as much. They all seem to know each other. Same with producers, but rappers do seem to come with this sort of inbuilt bravado, ego, as you say. Like, and it's like, well, I'm better than you, so I'm not. And you know what I mean? It's always like, you have to give me something for my time here or whatever, sort of. And it's
like the world owes them something.
100%, yeah. And it's difficult to get that out of their heads, especially with kind of the way rap is now. The musicians that people are looking up to when they're coming through, it's very like, I'm making this money just for myself and like F everyone else, and it's like not a positive thing to like see. Whereas,
well, it's also about investing in what it is that you want to do. So that was the key thing with Invisible Circle, was we built that family. So now, when you see the people out in Invisible Circle, everybody is like so happy to see each other when they see each other. There was people at war when they came into the Invisible Circle.
Word.
So we had two crews in particular You had your there was three crews actually, because these were the younger people that was coming up on the scene at the time.
Yeah.
So you had Geno Fam, you had Colony production team, but there was only J Bravo that had come in from them.
Yeah.
And there was already friction between them at that time.
Really?
And then there was LSI, and LSI was Scuff, Kaiban, Magic, Bretsky, who runs Artificial. Right.
That's him, right? He was rapping, was he, back in the day?
Yes, he started rapping and he was involved. So he was in that crew, LSI. And these guys now, there was mad beef on the streets because they were from different places and they were all quite young and they came in, they sat down with the elders, didn't they, really, of their community.
Yeah.
And it got squashed. They all became like best friends and everyone was cool. And that's what we loved about it. That's what I loved about it more than anything, was the fact that we could squash beef like that, like.
We were doing, I don't know whether you remember me or remember even seeing the WY Cypher, which was a freestyle thing we were doing for a couple of years back in 2010, 11. But there were people who didn't know each other from across Leeds, Bradford. They might have not even had a nice thing to say about one another through the music they released or the way they felt about whatever. But as soon as you got them in a room and they were freestyling together, or even if the camera wasn't on them, they weren't freestyling, they were just chilling and chatting, suddenly everyone's collaborating, they're doing tracks together, everyone's cool, and then they see each other out at the bar, yo, it's you from... Everyone's... And
that's all it is.
Man.
That's all it is. You know, territorialism is like when we're being like, who's this guy? We don't know him.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's our insecurity.
Yeah.
That's the insecurity and the ego kicking in, that I'm better than him. I'm not, Yeah. So it's like... And we do this as human beings. Do this. It's not just hip hop. This is in every aspect of life, really.
True.
We're always in competition. I think it's a social conditioning within society. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it's humans, isn't it? It's evolution. We came out going, be scared of them in that cave over there. They might steal our meat or whatever.
Exactly. So it's like, but once you've sat down with somebody and actually even taken 10 minutes to talk to somebody, 5 minutes to talk to somebody, that's your boy now.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? You've got his back, and he's cool, you know what? And you might have thought he was an idiot before, and now you think, actually, this guy's cool, I've seen it so many times.
Of course.
But it's just like, if we could, within ourselves, rise above that, what
being the bigger person
to be.
How do you feel about, because I think you're similar to me in a way. You've done even much more, but you've put a lot of time into other people, and sort of even creating this is putting time into other people, because you've represented lots of other things other than your own stuff here. How do you feel about when people don't really give back as much? Are you able to rise above that, or is there a part here that's like, would have been nice?
Completely rise above it.
Good man.
I don't know how it is that I do it, and I always feel like, there's people that have hated on me for this, really, to be honest, and I've seen it, but I don't care. I've got love for them.
Yeah.
I've got nothing but love for them.
That's amazing.
I've put them in here, and still some people have
hated. Really?
And so therefore, it's only a misunderstanding for them. It's only their own hurt that's going on. It's their own pain. It's whatever's going on inside internally. It's not me, so I can't get hurt by that. I have to just let that be, because I understand that, or understand,
Yeah.
That basically that's going to happen. It happens. We're all human, and we all have emotions, and sometimes that all gets tangled up in everything else, living life and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like when we're talking about the territorialism, the jealousy that comes with that, because I've asked and invited as many people as I could to get involved in this. I didn't know everybody.
Nah, you didn't know me, bro, before.
Right, so, and you're my brother.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
So yeah, and this is what I'm saying. It's nice that we've gotten that opportunity now through Tony Green. This is what I'm saying. We've all got connects.
Yeah.
And it is nice if we do pull together. My friend Hyro.
Hyro. Crazy graffiti artist. Crazy Japanese style graffiti.
He's always been about this family pulling together, unified and stuff. And the other day he was just saying he feels a bit disillusioned by all of that, and now, because he feels like, for so many years he's been trying to pull, like even the graffiti scene, trying to pull people together in the graffiti scene, and they're not really. Everyone's in little clicky clique. It's all cliquey.
I've heard a lot with that graffiti. It can get a bit beefy as well with people's art and stuff.
Extremely beefy, and I'll tell you a little story on that as well. So when we did the Junkyard Tactics video. When you watch that Junkyard Tactics video, at that particular time, there was some serious beef going on between two crews that are both painting on that wall that day. So all the graffiti that you see on the wall that day, I provided my spray cans. So I had a load of spray cans that I'd accumulated over the years of doing what I was doing, workshops and whatnot, and my own time, So I got all these. I think Leeds City Council owed me fresh cans back because they'd used my cans. So basically, they gave me all these fresh cans. I gave it to the cause of, let's pull these kids together because there's serious stuff going on. It was getting really serious. People getting hurt. Yeah. Like seriously hurt, yeah. People knocked out, laid out, all that kind of stuff, getting hit in the head with things. And
over graff as well, man.
All over graff.
Damn.
Different crews. So it was a younger crew that didn't respect the guys that was already on the scene. And again, I found this is happening a lot, that they don't really have the respect for those that came before. Yeah, it's only as you get older that you start to respect that, because then you realise that people are not having respect for you when you came before them.
It's part of the arrogance of youth and coming up, though, isn't it? There has to be a point of that, but when it's like disrespectful to that level, it's like troublesome, isn't it? Like,
but it went to a whole next level. So the example there is the fact that we stopped that beef just by having them all paint on the same wall that day in a music video.
Amazing.
And
and it was cool. So kind of cool from then on.
There wasn't any beef between them after that. I mean, I'm sure they probably didn't like each other.
But
nowadays they're cool with each other and stuff like that, But there was no more of what was happening. I mean, people seriously got laid out, bro.
Yeah.
It was not nice. And then other people were going to get involved. There was families going to get involved. It got really serious. People were getting hunted down. Do you know what I mean? It was.
I only ever, because I'm not really in the graff scene, but I know a few graff artists. But it was as recent as there was a venue called Cedric Avenue, maybe 2011. Tony was sort of part running it, and he ended up getting in the middle of two lads and getting glassed. And it was over a graff beef. And I don't remember the crews or anything, but it's just just from bystanding between these guys, and again over a similar thing. In fact, most of the worst beef I've heard of is between graff artists.
What they need to do is just go paint together on the wall. And do you know what? Some people might not have the same skills as other people, but at the end of the day, a lot of those people that do have the skills are more than happy to share tips or share, they want to have people come up under them and see. That's what I mean. For me, it's been people like Tom Stewart, that Donald Delpeche. So Tom Stewart's BTI, Breaking the Illusion. He had so much time for me. Paul Edmead, Oddball. LSK has been incredible in my life and done so much for me. So him and Tom, all of these people. I'm not trying to put anyone over anybody, but they've all been really great mentors to me. DJ X, which is Donald Delpeche. These people have really inspired me, and kind of even like Dynamax. Dynamax, the American brother that came over. I don't know if he was here. He came all the way over from America. Right. Just to perform for free at one of our events in here on a Sunday, and he paid for himself to get out here and everything. I think Emma Walker helped him out, and Dawood Ikwan from Ikwan and DMW. They were trying to surprise me by bringing him here, like Skinny Man did. Skinny Man Western and Skinny Man surprised me on the opening. Skinny Man came and did a live performance. I didn't even know he was coming because he had a broken hip, and he came all the way up from London with a broken hip and came and did a live performance in for us, a full performance.
Mad.
And it's nuts. I can't salute these guys more than anything. For what they've done. There's been a lot of love shown in this.
That's good, man. That's amazing. We're coming to last month of the museum here. What's next? Because you've got to be up and out and all. Where's all this stuff going for starters?
We don't know where this train's going yet. Countdown did an absolutely incredible job of building this train, and Countdown made this.
DJ
train.
Countdown, that is.
DJ Countdown is incredible. The things that he's done. Another brother that's been so close to my heart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's probably loads of people I've just missed off. But some of these people have been so incredible to me. And I don't know if he's going to store this for us or not. I don't know. He did mention that before.
So sick for this to be somewhere.
We don't want it to be stored. It needs to go somewhere.
It needs to be somewhere, Even if it continues to get graffitied on for the rest
Liverpool
of the time.
Liverpool have shown some interest, but I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear back from them of whether they do something and we end up.
This has to find a home, man. Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to hear back from that. And We've got a few little things in the pipeline. There's I've formed this thing called the Federation of Hip Hop, the UK Federation of Hip Hop. So there's a few guys that come together as the federation. Like there's London, Liverpool, Manchester were involved. They're not at the moment, and hopefully one day they'll get back on board because they've got a lot going on over in Manchester as well.
Of course, yeah.
Which we will be doing stuff with Manchester, especially Liverpool as well. Wales, they've got things going on. So we started trying to, because again, like I said, I've been up to the top of that mountain. I've seen what's below. Yeah. Before it got knocked out from underneath, and I know that
you can build that community. You can effectively build that UK-wide community.
Whether it be nationwide, whether it be internationally, whatever, we can do it, and locally, we can definitely do it. But so what we've got coming up after this is just. I want people to volunteer and get involved because it's a lot of work on just me. There's a couple of other members in the Hip Hop Historian Society that have put so much hard work into this as well, even into the foundation of this, of writing our policies, because we're an official charity. Yeah. Writing up all the policies, just getting funding. We've got, there's Mech, there's Jill, there's Emma, there's Azza, there's Benny. All of these people have been really active and making things happen. Michael Hill, there's quite a few people that have really put a lot into this hip-hop Historian Society to make it happen. Yeah. I might be a face of it kind of thing. Yeah. And I am the ideas man. I bring it and I execute the things. Yeah. But, without those people behind me, it couldn't happen. But I need more people. Yeah. So, more people to get on board would be absolutely amazing. The visions that I have right now is we need a book. I would have loved a book for this, to interview everybody and document everything that's in this. Yeah. And also get more where the people that I have missed out, and I really sincerely apologise if anyone I've missed out that I didn't know or I forgot, because it's only my one brain.
Yeah, of course. You can't be to blame for that.
No. But if there is any, please come to me. And we put it in there, we'll document it, and we'll put it into the timeline, we'll put it into the... Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we need to work on getting funding for a book and a film.
Yeah, film as well, nice.
I'm trying to do that with Ashley Carell to put the film together, because he's an amazing filmmaker, local filmmaker, and I'd really like to make that happen. But we need funding to do that. So anyone who knows where funding can come from or can help us with funding would be absolutely appreciated too.
Sick. Monk, I'm going to leave it there because it seems like a school has taken over the place, but that's what this installation's for. So it's so great that people are enjoying the space, mate.
I might give them a little free tour.
Leeds thanks you for what you've done here as well, man. It means a lot to me, and thank you for inspiring me to get on with stuff. So
thank you ever so much,
big up, brother. Big up, man.
Thank you.
So there you go. That was King Monk talking to me live and direct from the Leeds Museum exhibition, which does finish in March, the end of the March 2024. So you may well have missed it, and you were sleeping if you didn't see it. You heard him asking for potential volunteers for the Leeds Hip Hop Historian and such like. It would be great if you could do that, if you can give him a shout. kingmonkstudios@gmail.com. kingmonkstudios@gmail.com if you fancy getting involved in the hip hop scene. But for now, big up!